Good day NSTP trainees. This morning we will be having 3 lessons. First, the Preamble and the 1987 Philippine Constitution. Second, the Flag and Heraldic Code of the Philippines. Third, the Act of Volunteerism of 2007. I encourage you to be in a comfortable position as we reignite and rekindle the sense of nationalism within us through these topics. Activity will be given after the discussion. Thank you.
First is the Preamble and the CWTS framework. After a thorough discussion of this topic, we will be able to identify the good citizenship values found in the Preamble of the Philippine Constitution. Second, we can also classify the good citizens values or GCVs accordingly in the national motto, Makadiyos, Makatao, Makakalikasan, at makabansa. And we will also be able to appreciate the importance of good citizenship values in the national building. But before that, we have here a short activity wherein there is a version of the preamble of the 1987 Constitution, and some of the words here are replaced with a blank, and we're going to try to guess, or some of you can actually remember some of the words and try to answer or fill in the blank with the words on the preamble. I will give you 10 seconds to read and also try to guess some of the missing words. Okay, your 10 seconds starts now. Okay, time is up. Thank you very much for participating in our short activity. And next is the version of the Preamble of the 1987 Constitution. So can you also read it aloud together with me? Shall we start? Good. We, the sovereign Filipino people, imploring the aid of Almighty God in order to build a just and humane society and establish a government that shall embody our ideals and aspirations, promote the common good, conserve and develop our patrimony, and secure to ourselves and posterity the blessings of independence and democracy under the rule of law, and a regime of truth, justice, freedom, love, equality, and peace, do ordain and promulgate this Constitution. Now, the essence of the preamble is that it seeks to provide equality of status and opportunity to all individuals, and thus promotes a sense of brotherhood among all citizens, and in general, the Filipinos. The next point that we are going to talk is the NSTP CWTS framework, which is also based on our national motto. Do you know what is our national motto? Can you try to guess? Or do you have some ideas about our national motto? Okay, You can actually read it aloud together with me. So our national motto, Makadiyos, Makatao, Makakalikasan, at Makabansa. So we will discuss this one by one. So we will have first Makadiyos. So under Makadiyos is that morality and values formation. So we are going to manifest our faith in Almighty God, respect for life, order, work, concern for family, and future generations. And also, for Makatao, under Makatao is love, freedom, peace, justice, and truth. For Makakalikasan, we will show our stewardship, love for the environment, and also concerning about environmental protection. So there are 7 principles for Makakalikasan. The first environmental principle is nature knows best. Again, nature knows best. That's the first environmental principle. Second, all life forms are important. Again, can you repeat? All life forms are important. Very good. The third environmental principle is everything is connected to everything else. Again, everything is connected to everything else. That's the third environmental principle. Fourth, everything changes. The fourth environmental principle, everything changes. Number 5, for the fifth environmental principle, everything must go somewhere. Everything must go somewhere. Number 6, for the sixth environmental principle, the sixth environmental principle, ours is a finite earth. Again, ours is a finite earth. The seventh environmental principle, stewardship. Again, stewardship. So let's have a recap with the first to seventh environmental principle. First, nature knows best. Second, all life forms are important. Third, everything is connected to everything else. Fourth, everything changes. Fifth, everything must go somewhere. Sixth, ours is a finite earth. And 7, stewardship. Very good. And down to our last, which is Makabansa, which is being demonstrated through unity, equality, our respect for law, patriotism, and promotion for the common good. And that completes our lesson for the Preamble of the 1987 Constitution and also the UC NSTP CWTS framework. Now we will continue with our second topic this morning, which is all about Flag and Heraldic Code of the Philippines, which is stated in the Republic Act number 8491 or RA 8491. Again, Republic Act number 8491, Flag and Heraldic Code of the Philippines. So what is Republic Act 8491? It is an act prescribing the code of national anthem, motto, coat of arms, and other heraldic items and devices in the Philippines. It is also known as the Flag and Heraldic Code of the Philippines. It is also stated in RA 8491 that the reverence and respect should at all times be accorded to the flag, the anthem, and other national symbols which embody the national ideals and traditions and which express the principles of sovereignty. Now, we will talk for the design of the Philippine flag needs. First is the white triangle. This symbolizes equality. The 3 stars symbolize Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. The 8 rays of the sun symbolize Manila, Nueva Ecija, Laguna, Pampanga, Bulacan, Tarlac, Cavite, Batangas. These are the 8 Tagalog provinces that rose up against Spanish colonial rule during the colonial period. Now, we move on to the blue, red, and white color. Blue represents or symbolizes patriotism and justice. The red one represents valor and blood spilled for freedom and independence. The white stands for peace and purity. What is the proper hoisting and display of the Philippine flag? The flag shall be displayed in all: first, public buildings; second, official residences; third, public plazas, and institutions of learning every day throughout the year. And it is also permanently hoisted in Malacanang Palace, Congress, Supreme Court, and etc. The flag also shall be displayed in private buildings and residences or raised in the open on flagstaffs in front of the said buildings. Every April 9, which is the Araw ng Kagitingan, May 1, Labor Day, May 28, National Day Flag, to June 12, Independence Day. Last Sunday of August, which is our National Heroes Day, November 30, Bonifacio Day, and also in December 30, which is the Rizal Day. Now, other condition for hoisting and display. The flag shall be flown on merchant ships of Philippine registry of more than 1,000 gross tons and in all naval vessels. The flag shall, if flown from a flagpole, shall have its blue field on top in time of peace and the red field on top in the time of war. In hanging position, the blue field shall be at the right in time of peace and the red field at the right in the time of war. If on stage or on a platform or government office, the flag shall be at the left facing the stage or the left of the office upon entering. When the Philippine flag is flown with another flags, both or national flags must be flown on separate staffs of the same height and shall be of equal size. The flag shall be hoisted first and lowered last. A flag worn out through wear and tear shall not be thrown away. Instead, it shall be solemnly burned to avoid misuse or desecration. The flag shall be replaced immediately when it begins to show signs of wear and tear. The flag shall be flown at half-mast on all buildings and places where the dissident was holding office, on the day of the death until the day of interment of an incumbent member of the Supreme Court, the Cabinet, the Senate, or the House of Representatives, and such other persons as may be determined by the Institute. The flag, when flown at half-mast, shall be first hoisted to the peak for a moment, then lowered to the half-mast position. The flag shall again be raised to the peak before it is lowered for the day. Now, when do we put the Philippine flag as a cover on the casket? The flag may be used to cover the caskets of the honored dead of the military, veterans of previous wars, national artists, and of civilians who have rendered distinguished service to the nation, as may be determined by the local government unit as well. What is our pledge of allegiance to the Philippine flag? So at this time, may I request you to also read aloud the Pledge of Allegiance to the Philippine flag. Okay, all together. Ako ay Pilipino, buong katapatang nanunumpa sa watawat ng Pilipinas at sa bansang kanyang sinasagisag na may dangal, katarungan at kalayaan na pinakikilos ng sambayanang makadiyos, makatao, makakalikasan, makabansa. Okay, very good. Now, can we have it one more time? Ako ay Pilipino, buong katapatang nanunumpa sa watawat ng Pilipinas at sa bansang kanyang sinasagisag na may dangal, katarungan at kalayaan na pinakikilos ng sambayanang makadiyos, makatao, makakalikasan at makabansa. Very good. Now we will proceed now to our second discussion, if there is such a thing as Flag Day. The period from May 28 to June 12 each year. The period from May 28 to June 12 each year is declared as Flag Days, during which period all offices, agencies, instrumentalities of government, business establishments, institutions of learning and private homes are enjoined to display the Philippine flag. What are the prohibited acts of our Philippine flag? First, to mutilate, deface, defile, trample, or cast contempt or commit any act or omission casting dishonor or ridicule upon the flag or over its surface. Another list of prohibited acts of Philippine flag: to use the flags as: first, drapery, festoon, tablecloth, covering for ceilings, walls, statues, or other objects, as a pennant in the hood, side, back, and top of motor vehicles, as a staff or a whip. For unveiling monuments and statues, as trademarks or for industrial, commercial, or agricultural labels or designs. And to use the flags as under any painting or picture, horizontally face up. It shall always be hoisted aloft and be allowed to fall freely below any platform. Also in discotheques, cockpits, night and day clubs, casinos, gambling joints, and places of vice or where frivolity prevails. Also, to wear the flag in whole or in part as a costume or uniform. To add any word, figure, mark, picture, design, drawings, advertisement, or imprint of any nature on the flag. Third, to print, paint, or attach representations of the flag. We shall always remember those prohibited acts, and all times we show respect to our Philippine flag as part of our national symbol. Now, what is the national anthem of the Philippines? The Philippine national anthem is the Lupang Hinirang. We are now on our last topic for this morning, which we will be talking about the volunteerism. And after this presentation, or after this discussion on Volunteer Act of 2007, you will be able to state the importance of Republic Act 9418. Second, you will be able to define volunteerism, volunteer, volunteer service organization, and voluntary sector in the light of Republic Act 9418. Third, explain the role and modalities of volunteerism in the private sector and foreign volunteer. The fourth one, you'll be able to explain the recognition and incentives to volunteer. The Republic Act 9418, also known as Volunteer Act of 2007, shall be the policy of the states to promote the participation of the various sectors of the Filipino society. As necessary, international and foreign volunteer organizations in the public and civic affairs and adopt and strengthen the practice of volunteerism as a strategy in order to attain national development. Furthermore, the inculcation of volunteerism as a way of life shall rekindle in every Filipino in the time-honored tradition of bayanihan to foster social justice, solidarity, and sustainable development. And in order for us to carry out the foregoing policy, the government shall pursue the attainment of the following goals and objectives. First, it is to provide a policy framework on volunteerism that shall underscore the fundamental principles necessary to harness and harmonize the broad, diverse efforts of voluntary sector in the country into an integrative and effective partnership for local and national development as well as international cooperation and understanding. Second, also to provide a conducive and enabling environment for volunteers and volunteer service organizations by setting mechanisms to protect volunteers' rights and privileges, to give due recognition, to highlight the roles and contributions to our society. And the last one is to provide an effective institutional mechanism to strengthen the role of the Philippine National Volunteer Services Coordinating Agency, or PNVSCA, to perform its mandate and oversee the implementation of this act. Volunteerism refers to an act involving a wide range of activities, including traditional forms of mutual aid and developmental interventions that provides an enabling and empowering environment both on the part of the beneficiary receiving and volunteer rendering the act, undertaken for reasons arising from socio-developmental, business of corporate orientation, commitment, or conviction for the attainment of the public good, and where monetary and other incentives or reward are not the primary motivating factors. Have you tried as well to be part of an organization, or have you tried to be a volunteer in some of the activities in your school? Okay, that's good. Very good. Now, what is a volunteer? This refers to an individual or group who, for reasons arising from their social developmental, business and corporate orientation, commitment or conviction, contribute time, service, and resources, whether on full-time or part-time basis, to a just and essential social development cause, mission, or endeavor in the belief that their activity is mutually meaningful and beneficial to public interest as well as to themselves. In the Philippines, there are actually a lot of organizations wherein Filipino youth can actually participate and also be part or one of their volunteers to go to the community and reach out to the people who are in need. And also for a cause of saving our Mother Earth by planting more trees and also going to communities to educate the people on how to take good care of our nature and environment. There are also local or foreign group that recruits, trains, deploys, and supports volunteer workers to programs and projects implemented by them or by other organizations or any group that provides services and resources, including but not limited to information, capability, advocacy, and networking for attainment of common good. So this is what we call volunteer service organization. Again, volunteer service organization. We also have voluntary sectors. These are the sectors of the Philippine society that organize themselves into volunteers to take advocacy and action primarily for local and national development as well as international cooperation and understanding. We have here the following examples. For national, Greenpeace Philippines, Philippine Animal Welfare Society, Volunteer Youth Leaders for Health Philippines, World Vision Philippines, Gentle Hands, Amnesty International. And for foreign, for charities, World Vision, American Red Cross, YWCA, and for foundations, David Suzuki Foundation, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, social welfare organizations, Human Rights Watch, Environmental Protection Agency. Now, we will be discussing the role and modality of volunteerism in the private sector. Volunteerism in the academe includes but is not limited to provision of technical assistance and sharing of technology within the academic circle, target communities and other clienteles, and upgrading of the quality of education and curriculum methodologies while providing career enhancement and exposure to volunteers. How about volunteerism in the corporate sector? Yes, we also have volunteerism in the corporate sector as an expression of corporate social responsibility and citizenship. It also refers to activities recognized by the company where employees give their time, skills, and resources in the service of the company's internal and external community. We also have volunteerism by not-for-profit organizations. Includes and is also not limited to provision of complementary service delivery and human resource development in underserved communities, as well as advocacy and articulation of the cause of the disadvantaged and vulnerable groups. Now, how about the role of modality of volunteerism by foreign volunteers? In some areas in the Philippines, there are foreign organizations and which also brought foreign volunteers in the community to provide technical assistance to locally accessible in priority development areas within the framework of technical cooperation and socio-cultural. We also have programs like this in the Philippines. And since we have foreign sectors, foreign organizations, and foreign volunteers in our country, what is now the role of the government? The government shall coordinate, facilitate, and encourage the participation of the voluntary sector in the promotion, utilization, and recognition of volunteerism in the national development and international cooperation. Let's try to ask and answer some questions which are related to the Volunteer Act of 2007. The first question brought to us is there any agency that takes care of the volunteers? Yes, there is. The Philippine National Volunteer Service, coordinating agency created by Executive Order Number 134 as amended, shall undertake the implementation and execution of the provisions of, again, the Philippine National Volunteer Service Coordinating Agency will do the execution of the provisions of the Volunteer Act of 2007. Now, what are the provisions or special provisions of Republic Act 9418 or the Volunteer Act of 2007 that people must know. First is the establishment of national volunteer infrastructure and forum. Second, the integration of volunteerism in the basic and higher education curriculum. Third, establishment of volunteer program in national government agencies and local government units. Fourth, recognition and incentives to volunteers. Fourth, recognition. Fifth, visa privileges for foreign volunteers. Next is the institutional mechanism for research, documentation, recognition, and modeling of best volunteer practices. Thank you very much for listening to our discussion this morning. And now for your activity for the 3 topics, Preamble, Flag and Heraldic Code, and Volunteer Act, you will create a video presentation. So listen carefully to the instruction. There will be 4 members in a team: Makadiyos, Makatao, Makakalikasan, and Makabansa. The video will present the new era of heroes, which needs to collect pictures and videos of our dedicated frontliners or volunteers and compile them all by making a music video with the theme "We Heal as One" to emphasize the role of every citizen of our country. The background music should be meaningful enough to showcase the sacrifices of our volunteers are making. You can insert some lines anyway if you want. Be creative. Rubrics will be provided for the output. Thank you.